Good evening, everybody. I would like to call this meeting of the invite everyone to join me in the pledge of allegiance. Would you like to lead us in the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can you guys hear me okay in the back? Or do I need to talk louder?
That's
Oh,
perfect.
that Ooh.
He's turning it off.
Thank you, Kate. All right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Savage,
Present.
Trustee Zerba,
That's it.
Trustee Karen, Trustee Soul, present. Trustee Friel,
Present.
Michelle Moreno is absent.
Okay, we have a quorum. We will now move on to public comment. At this time, we will have public comment. Residents will have an opportunity to speak during public comment. Comments are directed to the supervisor. We ask comments to be kept to 3 minutes and address Downers Grove Township issues. Please refrain from profanity or personal attacks directed at individuals and be respectful of all residents. Remind you that public comment is not a Q&A session. Thank you. Is there any public comment? Seeing we have no public comments, we will approve the minutes. Are there any changes to the minutes presented at the November 17th, 2025 meeting? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. And I will just mention that, I should wait and guess until my report, but Trustee Moreno had surgery on Friday, so she's still recovering. And she says hello and wishes everybody a great holiday season. Is there a motion to approve the trustee audit and approval of bills and claims as presented?
So moved. Second.
It was moved by Trustee Friel and seconded by Trustee Zerba. Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Supervisor Savage,
Yes.
Trustee Zerba,
Yes.
Trustee Soul, yes. Trustee Friel.
Yes.
Okay, the motion has passed. Now we will move on to the supervisor report. And as part of the supervisor report, we have a presentation from two of our Human Services staff members, Jennifer Jones and Katie Bartlett, the deputy clerk. And they will be telling us some of the other things that we do out of the supervisor's office. I like Robin Williams. Yay.
I'm up first. I've been told to use the mic. Hello. My name is Jennifer Jones. I am the Senior Administrative Assistant in the Supervisor's Office.
Myself and Katie Bartlett and Sarah Deschamps make up the Human Services Department. We're going to tell you what we do. We have two basic areas under Human Services, and that is Senior Services and Community Services. Katie's going to be telling you a little bit more about the Senior Services, because in addition to being Deputy Clerk, she is also a Public Services Assistant.
Thank you. All right, so a big part of what we do in the office is senior services. You guys saw the senior services presentation, I believe it was a few months ago. They do all the scheduling and the activities. We do a lot of the other end of it. We do a lot of services for seniors. A big one that we do is benefit access. That is a program through the state of Illinois that qualifies seniors for discount license plate registration stickers, as well as RTA free ride, and there's an income requirement. So we can process these applications in our office. For eligible seniors, it requires a statement of income, whether that's their social security statement or their taxes, and it can get you a very, very big discount on your license plate sticker, which is extremely beneficial for people. We also have our resource guide, which I believe Jennifer brought some examples of. If you're interested, it is a somewhere around 17-page guide that has tons of resources that we've accumulated over the years, kindly put together by Jennifer, that we hand out to many of the seniors that come through our office. It covers just about everything you can be looking for in our community. We have important numbers, hotlines, resources for our healthcare, housing, transportation. We get a lot of questions about free or discounted legal services. We have that in there, as well as information on food pantries and other donation locations in our area. We also do senior program registration. So we're not here at the events, but we are on the phones. So we are taking those registrations on the last Tuesday of every month. We are there right at the front line at 9 a.m., getting all of those phone calls and talking to everybody on the phone, talking them through what programs they want, what programs they're interested in, when do they happen, who's teaching it this month. Are they serving food? A very important question. We also go through all the cancellations, and that it requires us to be calling people on wait lists so that we make sure that we fill our class and get as many people who want to be there into the programs, because a lot of our events, because of the size of our room, they do have significant wait lists. And we always call it a good thing when we get to call somebody off the wait list. We go, oh look, somebody canceled. Who wants to call with the good news? And let somebody know that they are now able to come to a program. We also put complaints and suggestions, because again, since we are the front line on the phone, we get a lot of feedback from people who don't know that we are doing the programming. And that's okay, because Sarah does the programming and she sits right behind us. The next big one is ride services. So when I first started working here, I was wildly confused. You might also be wildly confused. That's okay, it is a very confusing topic. The big ones are RTA. So RTA stands for Regional Transport Authority. That is in the entire Chicagoland area. That covers PACE, which are like the city buses. It covers CTA, which is all of the Chicago Transit, as well as Metro. So we are a registration site. So if you were to go onto RTA and say, I'm interested in getting a senior reduced fare permit, you could Google your area code and they'd say, go to the Downers Grove Township. You can get a ride-free permit, a reduced fare permit, or some of the other RTA programs and information. You'll actually see them when you come in. We have these beautiful color pamphlets. We get a lot of questions on them. Every now and then I'll get a new one and somebody will say, well, what about the veteran services, the veterans discount? And I'm like, that's a great question. I'm tapping away and finding out exactly how it works. The next thing is Dial-A-Ride. So this is a big one. It operates only within the Downers Grove Township boundaries, but it is for any person over the age of 65 or permanently disabled. That is all through PACE. So we pay PACE to drive our seniors. So like I said, here it is township-sponsored curb-to-curb ride service. So we'll talk about this in a second, but fixed transit versus curb-to-curb. So it operates Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., $3 each way or $6 round trip, and it is on a PACE minibus that is wheelchair accessible. This is the wonderful flow chart I made. It's not meant to be practical at this exact moment. If you're interested in it, I can absolutely print you one. But these are the steps when somebody calls us and says, I'm interested in your ride services. We start with, do you live in the Downers Grove Township? Because a lot of the times the answer is no. And that's okay, because we can direct them where they need to go. But if are they over 65? Do they have a disability? Have you gone through PACE and gotten your ADA number? No, you haven't, that's okay, here's the phone number to do that. Are you looking for on-demand or fixed route transit? So fixed route transit are the buses that you see that stop at the same stops every day at the same time. There's also the curb to curb, which means I'm calling them saying, I would like you to pick me up at this phone number, at this address, my apologies, and drop me off at this address. And it's very good for seniors. They do medical appointments. They also do any sort of social or otherwise appointment. We prioritize medical, but if you need to go to the grocery store, if you want to go to church, if you want to go to a social event, if you want to come here and see us, they can do that. It is very confusing because each township has their own ride service that operates only within their township. They're all named something a little bit different, but a few of them are called Dial Ride. There's also Ride DuPage, which is for the whole of DuPage County. And then there's RTA, which is the Chicagoland area. And somehow all of those do not yet cover all of the people who need it. So it can be a little juggle of where do you live? Okay, let me look that up exactly on our map. Oh no, you're 2 blocks outside of our district. That means you're in Lyle Township. Oh, Lyle Township is actually not for people who are disabled, which means that if you lived 3 blocks over, you'd be good, but you don't, so now we can't help you, so now we're sending you to RTA. It's a whole thing. It's very complicated, and this is something we say to seniors on the phone all the time. It is extremely complicated. It is confusing. It is understandable that you're confused. We're confused. Sometimes RTA is confused, but we're going to work it out. And we hear a lot of really good things, and we talk to a lot of families, whether that's families, members of who are caregivers, to younger people, older people, parents, siblings, kids who are utilizing our services and are able to go where they need to go. Like I said, I spent so much time doing this, in part just so I could understand what the process is. All right.
So in addition to our senior services, we do offer several community services. One of those is being passports. We are a passport acceptance facility. That means that there are 2 acceptance agents, that would be Katie and myself. We can help execute new passport applications. We can assist people in completing their passport renewal applications. We can take photos, all of this by appointment, please. As a passport acceptance facility, we do receive an inspection, somewhere between 1 to 4 years, depending on how busy our facility is. And as passport acceptance agents, we do receive training once a year to be in compliance with the Department of State. We also receive regular updates and newsletters from them, so we stay up to date on the latest rules and regulations regarding passports. Just to give you an idea of how busy we are, I did bring some numbers. In November, Katie and I processed 42 new passport applications. We assisted with 13 renewals. We did field 75 calls with questions about passports. Back in March, Katie wasn't with me yet, I did 95 new passport applications because around that time people were needing their real ID. They couldn't get an appointment. They could get a passport quicker and easier. We were very busy. We also, as part of our community services, we have a medical lending closet. That means that we have over 200 pieces of durable medical equipment. It is located in the basement of this building right here. We have wheelchairs, walkers, canes, shower chairs, benches, crutches, knee scooters, anything you might need. This is for any age, any individual. We have no boundaries. If you need it, I would much rather you have it than it collect dust in my basement, right? It is 100% donated items. And with over 200 pieces of equipment, we also have waiting to be cleaned and inspected probably another 40 pieces of equipment. Because it is maintained by staff, it takes time, because we also have full-time jobs. We are very lucky to have some high school interns who have been helping us clean the equipment, and also some volunteers, which is much appreciated. And back to Katie. for other resources we have.
Thanks. So this is a list of compiled resources that we have in the office, whether that is pamphlets, trifolds from other locations, things that we have put together because it's something that we have been asked about a lot, or just packets of information. We get them from the county, we get them from RTA, we get them from the YMCA or the hospital. So we have notary services. We have 4 notaries in our office. We do voter registration. I believe we have 5 deputy registrars. We have already started getting calls about these things. We have files of life. We have rules of the road and highway maps. All this RT information, SNAP information, LIHEAP, DuPage Senior Citizen Council information, getting DuPage, and a whole bunch of other things. You can read them all. These are all things that people ask us about frequently enough that we are keeping them in copies on hand, well labeled and organized, because people are coming to our office and saying, do you have a power of attorney? And we go, well, we have the paperwork. Can you execute that for me? No, we cannot. Sorry, guys. We are notaries, though. Let's see. What don't we do? This is a very important one, and unfortunately something we get on the phone a lot. We cannot do registration for any other Downers Grove organization, whether that's the Park District, the library, the YMCA, or the village. It is something that can be very confusing to explain to people over the phone when they Google Downers Grove. They might not get the village of Downers Grove, but they're going to get some Downers Grove, and sometimes that's us. We do not do real IDs, state IDs. We do not issue driver's licenses or handicap placards. While we do a lot of RTA-related things, we are not a DMV or a Secretary of State Department facility. We do passports. We cannot help with TSA pre-check, global entry, trusted traveler, or visas. We do not do any recycling here on site. We do have the information for you. We don't have any ship counselors, but we can find you one. We don't register you for SNAP benefits, but we can certainly tell you about it. And we also don't do any private snow removal, but we sure can point you in the right direction. And then of course, like I said, we are the front line for any and all questions that come through the township. So if you call the township and you don't know who you want to talk to, you're gonna end up with one of us. These are a few of our very fun and memorable phone calls, which is, can I keep chickens in my backyard? Well, that's a great question. Do you live in Downers Grove? If so, yes. No roosters. Do you live in unincorporated Downers Grove? According to the countywide mandate, 5 to 6 hens, again, no roosters. We get a lot of people asking us questions that we don't know anything about, and while we will absolutely try to help you and do a little Google while we speak, no, I cannot speak on the new Social Security program that you heard about but don't know the name of. I'm very sorry. Can I register for Delaware? Absolutely. Where do you live? Bloomingdale. I cannot help you with that. I'm so sorry. For whatever reason, Pace seems to think that Bloomingdale is in Downers Grove Township. It happens a lot. Let's see. Where can I recycle? Insert large object or hazardous object here. That's a great question. Let me see if I can find out for you. It might cost money. I'm so sorry. And how late is your Salvation Army store open? It's not. We have a Salvation Army representative. We are unfortunately not a store. That is a little hard to understand via their website. But that is everything. As you can see, the 3 of us make up Human Services, myself, Jennifer, and Sarah. Do you have any questions? All right, thank you.
Nicely done.
I'm supposed to be too.
All right, continuing with the supervisor's report. On November 19th, we celebrated 6 months at Downers Grove Township with the office staff, and we feel fortunate to have a team that is passionate about providing service to our community. Since the last meeting, I also had the opportunity to tour the Scarce facility in Addison. Scarce is a nonprofit that does, their goal is to keep things out of the land through fill, so reduce, recycle, reuse. I learned more about the work they do to positively impact our environment by diverting items from landfills. They are able to provide supplies for classrooms, from collections of used textbooks to paper goods to art supplies to recycled crayons. Our senior Spreading Sunshine group sorts unwanted crayons to be repackaged or melted down to create larger shapes for people that need objects that are easier to hold. They also have reusable tableware that's available to rent for special events, and it is actually a pretty reasonable price. So if you're gonna have a party and you don't wanna use disposable dishes, you can rent tableware from them. In this month's bills, we have an expenditure to reimburse DuPage County for $37,445.90 for ARPA funds that were not documented with receipts. These expenses are related to equipment that was purchased for the Township Center here. We have not been able to locate the receipts that were not turned in for the items that the county was looking for. ARPA was the pandemic funds that were distributed to different units of government. Generally, the township has passed the fiscal year budget in February prior to the start of the fiscal year. I would like to continue that practice and have been working to tailor the budget more closely to our current operations, and the assessor is working on his part of the budget, and the highway commissioner, Tom, is working on his part of the budget. I would like to schedule a special board budget workshop for Saturday, January 10th. Since that item is not on the agenda, I would just like to see a consensus on whether that might fit into your schedules, and if it does, morning or afternoon.
As far as I know, you know how I feel about
Gotta ask the boss. Good.
Okay, so we will do a notice for that meeting and work on that, and I will have concrete things for us to look at and go over at that time. And then we will have our next township meeting will be the Monday, the 12th following that. So we can have additional discussion on it then if necessary. The holiday schedule resolution on the agenda adds 2 holidays for next year. In reviewing the schedule of other townships, we have 2 to 3 fewer paid holidays than our neighbors. So the new holidays are going to be for 2026, December 24th, and it's called December 24th, and New Year's Eve. Downers Grove Township continues to be an active participant in the unincorporated Willowbrook Coalition. The coalition works to support families in District 180, which is at the far south end of the district, and as you will recall, we, along with the senior services programs, did a trunk or treat for the kids down there in October. This past weekend, the coalition members assisted with a group called Youth for Excellence with their Winterfest at Anna M. Jean School. This is the 14th year of that program, so next year they'll have their 15th anniversary, and approximately 100 people attended. Most of them were, of course, children. The new Youth Services Advisory and Mental Health Advisory Committees continue to organize. They are both currently inviting guests to speak at the upcoming meetings in 2026 so that they can develop a fuller picture of the different needs that our communities are facing for those areas. And then the Senior Advisory Committee and senior program staff are currently roughing out the schedule for the entire year of 2026. Meetings I attended this month, Youth Advisory Services. Met with the Township Supervisors of DuPage County, attended Senior Advisory Committee, Planning Committee. They also had a Senior Advisory Committee party for the volunteers on the Senior Advisory Committee. I attended the Building and Grounds Work Group that we have in the Township, attended the Mental Health Advisory Committee meeting, attended the Association of Community Mental Health Authorities of Illinois Roundtable meeting. That was kind of about a 3-hour meeting that different organizations went over issues that they deal with and in their townships and how they dealt with that. And it is a group that we will be able to join once our mental health board is established. I attended the unincorporated Willowbrook Coalition meeting. I attended the Woodridge 75th Street TIF meeting. And I attended the what is that place? Timberlake Homeowners Association meeting. And then our Human Services staff gave you some statistics. In addition to what I think they said, there were 52 senior events this month, 926 attendees, keeping in mind that we have 3 holidays this month, or in November. General assistance, we have 8 current clients with total grants of $3,680. Emergency assistance grants, we have 8 grants this month, which is up from 3 last month, for a total of $3,613.84. Additional assistance, we had 157 clients for $4,207.63. So in addition to that, we had 63 light heat clients plus 55 light bulb clients. That's giving them 4 packs of light bulbs from ComEd. And those last 2 things have no dollar amount associated with them because the money for light heat flows through the county, as we learned before, but we process the applications for that. And the light bulbs are donated by Commonwealth Edison. And we talked about passports. PACE, the numbers for PACE are from September, and there were 244 trips and 249 riders. So that, I believe, concludes my report. Any questions, trustees? Okay. All right, we will move on to the assessor's report. The assessor was unable to make it this evening, and I do not have any updates from him. So we will move on to the highway commissioner report. Tom.
Thank you, Kim. Hopefully you can hear me. Perfect. This was a busy month for us. We started off mid-November finishing off all the roads construction. As many of you know, we started off with 3 miles of roads, paving, grinding, and doing some heat sterification, which is recycling in place. This is where we go through, heat the road, regrind it, and put an inch of new asphalt on top. That was all completed on time and on budget, so it's very important for our taxpayers. We also received a big thank you from a business owner on 83 side of the road. We had an opportunity to add an additional drain. During the summer, this business was unfortunately flooded out with all the rains that we had for a few days. And because of that, they were unable to have any customers come in, or they at least had some challenges parking in their parking lot. So we managed to squeeze them in the 3rd week in November, putting in an additional storm drain. So that means cutting out the street, putting in some new culverts. In this situation, a big 3-foot diameter culvert, and then repaving on top. So come next spring, next summer, if they receive these large rains, once again, their parking lot hopefully will not be flooded anymore. So I'm really proud of that, and the the owner gave us a big endorsement for the work that we did. December started off with a bang. As many of you know, we received 8 inches of snow a few weekends ago. That first snow that we received, we put over 100 tons of salt. We try not to put too much salt, but when we received this much snow, you sort of have to, in order to keep our residents safe and make sure our intersections aren't slippery. Over this last month, we went out a total of 5 times. What's unique about the township that's different than a lot of cities, for example, in Downers Grove, you need to have 3 inches of snow before you come out. At the township, we're a little more proactive, so we'll actually drive around if there's 1 inch or less, or if we see intersections that are slippery, we'll go through main intersections, and if we're sliding through, we'll actually call the team out and put salt down prior to even snowing. So we really try to be proactive because we have a large area that's very dispersed in the township. One of the things I do want to mention is that in our first snow that we received, we had a lot of residents that were unfortunately parked in the street. So we had some challenges going around some residents, and unfortunately, I had to call out the police a few times to have some residents remove their cars. So when we have storms coming in, please put your cars in your driveway. In some locations where we plow, we only have one way, one pass, one width of a car to go through. And with a large blade, it's really difficult to go around cars and not damage any cars. In one area, it was either a car or a mailbox. We took out the mailbox. So it's very important not to park in the street. And lastly, we're still in the process of implementing beet juice. This is something where we can pre-treat our roads where we don't have to use as much salt, which is harmful to the environment. DuPage County now is keeping track how much salt that we use. During our training, one of the things I was surprised to learn is once water is salted, it stays salted. So for example, stormwater gets treated for viruses, bacteria, but once it's salted, it stays salt water. So that salt water ends up going into the rivers, into the streams, and does have a biological impact. And so we try to minimize the amount of salt we use by introducing beet juice. So we're in the process of getting it in. We've ordered the pumps, the hoses, and so we have a contractor coming in this week that will be hopefully assembling everything and getting everything ready for us. So hopefully this time by January, I will be able to talk about the success of using beet juice. And then that's all I have. Any questions? All right. Yes,
Want to mention the electric vehicle charging station?
yes, good point. Yes, we did receive, we're in the process of putting in an electric vehicle charging station here at the township, so thank you for reminding me. That'll be shared between us and the township vehicles. We have one placed in the garage already, and the one here is about 40% done. So they've ran the lines last week under the parking lot, and then we will have an electrician come out, I think, end of this week, early next week, that will hook everything up underneath. So we'll have to work on an intergovernment agreement going forward, and so that we share those costs, and we are more environmentally friendly here at the township for our employees.
Thank you, Tom. All right, moving on, can we have a clerk's report, please?
Sure. Well, the clerk's office has been busy continuing to process burdensome FOIAs. Quite a bit of information that's been required us to be reviewing. When I say us, Katie Bartlett, the deputy clerk, and I reviewed quite a few of the legal bills from before our time, and we realized that it would be a benefit to us to digitize and make them searchable within our drive. So we are going to begin that as an ongoing project in the new year. Some of this work required us to work closely with Jeff Jacobson, our township attorney. And I've also been trying to search for other legal bills to help him untangle some other things from before we were here. going to be some resolution to something going on for over 6 months, or about 6 months now, and,
It's July.
right, and Jeff's got it handled already, and she was very grateful, so. That's about it.
Any questions for the clerk? All right, moving along, is there any old business? Hearing none, we're move on to new business. Is there a motion for a resolution designating the Downers Grove Township 2026 holiday schedule?
Approval of resolution 2025-115-1, resolution designating Downers Grove Township 2026 holiday schedule.
Okay, made by Carol Slow, seconds. Second. Friel seconds. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed? The motion passes. Is there a motion for a resolution designating the Downers Grove Township 2026 meeting schedule? Motion made by trustee Zerba. Is there a second?
Second.
Trustee Friel seconds. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. Motion passes. Right, now we are moving on to trustee comments and discussion. Do we have any comments or discussion from trustees?
I was thinking, would it be possible that the assessor cannot get a written report?
The question was, is it possible to get a written report? I did text him today to see if he had a report, and he did not respond. So he has had some health issues this week. So. But we will remind him in the future to try to do that. Other trustee comments? Discussion? Right, hearing none, the next regular Downers Grove Township Board meeting will be held January 12th, 2026 at 7 p.m. And we will also schedule a budget workshop on January 10th at 10 o'clock. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting? So moves. Is there a second? Second. Have reserved a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you all for coming.